Welcome everyone to our March 2014 Aesthetic Impact Informational Services Remote Viewing Practice discussion. Tonight we're going to have a little bit of a disjointed evening while I pull up emails and downloads. I've been doing some personal study and I won't say prepared quite the way I would like to be. But since 2014 started, I wanted to do something a little more in-depth with our viewing practices rather than just go on field trips and remote view targets. I wanted to put up one target a month, give people a chance to be retasked, see what they needed practice with, possibly opportunities with move commands and site locations. And so this is not necessarily a clean, pristine remote viewing session insofar as you get one target picture and explore it and see what you get. I try to figure out as many opportunities as possible to teach you theory and methodology. And yes, we're coming at you through controlled remote viewing, but we do have viewers here from all methodologies, self-taught, different trainers. And so what we're going to do today is I'm going to run you through a car wash. So here in Troy, and it's nice to be able, these are like outbounder exercises actually. I'm across the street from the Troy Auto Wash, and it's been a very rough winter here, lots of salt, and it was a little bit warm this day. Most of the snow was gone, and you can see we have 5 bays, make that 6, and there are folks coming and going, and down on the right you can see a vehicle in the steam through the water. It's very steamy in there, and then you can see straight through the back there's some industrial complexes behind. There are 2 stations out front for vacuuming. There's a vending area in the center between the open bays and the ones that are automated. So the ones on the left you can wash your own. I don't know, we have people here from different countries as well, so and who may be listening in later to the recording. So the bays on the left are open, and that's where folks can wash their vehicles using wands, and on the right is an automated 2-bay area, which we're going to scroll down and just a little bit more of a close-up. This is what it's like on the back side as you go in. A lot of colors, we have sensories and structure. Here's what it looks like when you're pulling in, and there's a recorded voice that says the car wash is, well, please select your wash, the car wash is ready, please enter when ready. And then there are rails on both sides that guide you in. And on the left up there is an area where your front left tire rests, and that's where you stop. And then that frame, as you can see, hopefully my cursor going up and over, that has instructions on it, different images, and then that moves alongside the vehicle. There are rails up at the top as well. And I purchased the works, and so we have 3 different colors of soap that were actually didn't show up very well. It was pink, yellow, and green. Somebody got jeweled, and I wondered if maybe that might be what they thought they were getting. And so after you have the wash go over, and there's all the big noise and the spray sound, and then there's a lot of jets and nozzles, and these are on overhead frames like in a U, and they swing up over the top. And so we rinse everything off, and then it tells you to pull forward, and there's a timer with a really loud blower, and straight down on your vehicle, and blows the water off and dries it. And then when you pull out of the bays, excuse me, there's a view in the distance. One of you may recognize it's a tower. And so one of you is kind of partial to towers, and one of you had really good sight contact, and I thought, okay, You have good site contacts. You've earned your M&Ms. Now let's just let you go explore the towers that you like so much. And actually, if we were working for a client and they needed confirmation of location, this would be a very distinct landmark, which we're going to see in just a second. Also, a few weeks back, last fall, I don't know which target it was. It was when I was in New Carlisle and we remote viewed a bank. And it was where Dillinger had, it was his first bank robbery. And anyway, one of you got a tower in the background, and it wasn't Terry, I don't think. But anyway, Lynn, I couldn't recall, and I haven't gone back since just to see. There are some farmers in the distance with silos and stuff, but I don't really remember that. And Lynn's like, I know remote viewers, and I'm sure that there's something there that the subconscious can see somewhere on that landscape that looks like this. Because he also knows our group. We've been getting together for weeks and months. So he's watched us turn in targets, practice, grow. He's watching our strengths, our weaknesses. And so I went ahead and it's Terry. I moved her from the original site, which she was describing, to the tower. And I'm sorry, I've not reviewed these sessions very well, so we're going to go through them. So here it is, and we're going to take a look through Google Earth if we get the time, because I could not remember the name of this place. It's not a granary, it's the name of a company. Behind it, you can see water off to the left, and when I pulled in off the road to take this shot, it smelled of chemicals and oil there, so bad. There's a sign, so if you got strong chemical smells, and for those of you who did view the car wash, I know I'm giving you extra feedback and it's like very confusing for you, but I'm teaching you to remote view. You can work practice sessions sitting at your kitchen table all you want. But Lynn and I having the opportunity to talk to you about things is what you don't get. So if I'm messing with your feedback and your perceptions on this target, I really do apologize, but I'm building a discussion around it. So there's a sign here on the left by this tree that says you can't swim or boat or hike or motorboat or ski or whatever without permission, because this is some kind of a preserve here, which I didn't know about. And there's a sign that says hazardous bank, dangerous pits, holes, and something about gravel. I did not climb up the hill to read that. There's a little hill there. So that is the gist of it. And for better or for worse, let me at least get the hailing frequencies open here with the chat, and let me see who's here. Okay, we've had a couple more people show. There's Michelle and Pat. And most everybody has a mic. Oh, Pat does not have a mic. Maybe we only have, I think, 7. Oh, now he does. All right. So apologies. Let me grab my emails. And let's see. I'm just going to grab, let's see. Oh, I think everybody was retasked today too. I am so sorry. It's what I get for trying to have a little bit of a life. Now I've got the guilties really much. All right, so let's get John Stewart, and then we will look for his retasking, because I can just pull it up. It's already saved on my PC. And we're going to go right to, I'm going to scroll through these fast because we look at sketches, which are ideograms, and summaries. So whatever you got that you decided was not important, if it was important and you didn't save it in summary, we're not going to see it. So here's John's first sketch. And Lynn, anytime you want to jump in here, because I'm winging it now. I have nothing structured to say. So more sketches.
I'm just speed reading as you go by here. There you go. Summary.
Yep. Summary. Target contains elements of man-made, motion, bio-organic, and airspace. And he may have typed his. I can't remember. Nope. Okay. So we have several man-made. One has aspects of wooden, narrow, long, 2 feet above ground, horizontal, solid, hard, smooth surface, red burgundy color, sport-like ambiance. Man-made 2 has aspects of boxy, black, mechanical, moving parts, which are internal, hollow, hard, grinding sounds, reducing purpose. And I wondered if by reducing, if John would tell us to me, which he has to explain what his understanding of reducing purpose, which to me could be conceptually washing the gunk off a car. I don't know that. I would need to ask him, and that would be allowed as an analyst.
Here's one of the problems
Go
of
ahead,
English.
Lynn. I need to turn up my mic, or you need to. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, is it reducing the purpose, or is it a reducing purpose?
Mm-hmm.
It's problems with English.
Associated with gemstones, which are green color, and motion 1 has aspects of rotating, rapid, repeating. Motion 2 has aspects of horizontal, above ground, long distance, and sideways. Airspace has aspects of outdoors, warm temperatures, burning smells, musical sounds. Bio has human male, under 40 years old, 6'1", Caucasian, 170 pounds, short-like ambiance, arms extended, tossing, throwing motion. Bio 2, human female, standing motion, rotating motion, dark hair, Hispanic, colorful attire, red and white, fun ambience, excited emotions. Man-made 3 has aspects of structure, hollow, stony, Spanish ambiance, 1 opening, metallic, cylindrical, bar-like objects, black color, more than 1. Man-made 4 has aspects of boxy shape, black, hard, shiny, 1 large opening, mechanical ambiance, internal parts in motion, and grinding sound. And John, if you want to say anything, go ahead. I'm going to see if I can find your second session, because I think, did I not retask you? I was thinking I did. John?
Can you hear me?
I can. Did I retask you? And I do apologize.
I think you did retask me, but I never got around to it.
Okay. All right. And that's perfectly fine. I just didn't want to miss that, and I couldn't see the session. But people still tend to send me sessions to different emails, so I was just making sure. Anything you want to say? Because I think there's a lot of those perceptions when you start weeding them out one at a time, so they're going to be really accurate. What did you think?
Well, I was pleased with the what I described as a burning smell. Odors are not one of my strong points, but you had commented that the area nearby was a chemical dump of sorts, so that was interesting.
It was. You couldn't really smell it from the car wash.
Teresa?
What? I'm sorry.
Same line, can I ask a question?
Sure can.
How much of a Spanish presence is there in that area?
Fair, not heavy.
Okay.
I don't think.
I noticed the warning sign, the bottom line on it was in Spanish. So.
Oh, hang on. You mean at the place where you're not supposed to go?
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm scrolling. I don't think any heavier than any place else in the country. I'll put it that way. Certainly lighter than a lot of places. Sorry. Scrolling.
Well, that's what I would expect.
I'm not seeing Spanish. Do you see
I
Spanish?
thought it said peligro, but it says something gravel.
Yeah, I don't think it's Spanish.
Okay, no, it looked like peligro.
I
Just
understand what
glancing
you're
at it
saying,
the
though.
first time.
Yeah. So this target has a lot of noise and a lot of sensories and motion, and there's some activity going on. So anyway, John, anything else back to you that you would like to talk about, or stress or trouble or anything at all? You're pretty experienced, so I don't know that you would term struggle very often now.
No, it seemed like I had quite a bit of sensories, though I feel I may have combined the original car wash target with the other towers, which looks to me like it could be a granary, and I think that's what I was perceiving. It was reducing something into something else. The purpose was reducing.
I only added those photos tonight, just to let you know. That's what I was doing. I was running a little behind because I had to run out and get some extra pictures because I saw that Terry had viewed the towers, and she said in the distance, which was really something I was happy to see because she had sight contact and she knew that they were in the distance, and she loves towers, seems to be drawn to them, and this time she didn't go there bang. She went to the assigned target, and so I don't know, Lynn, how much, even though I just added that feedback tonight and talked to you about it maybe 2 days ago, how much did it influence everybody's sessions, do you think?
Well, I don't know.
This is a good learning point, too.
Yeah, it's a good learning point, and how much it will influence a person's session is more dependent on the person than it is on the added feedback. I would have one comment on that last session, that part where he's talking about the man-made being sports-like and 2.5 feet off the ground and so on. That sounds like a fair descriptor. Now, this is stretching here, okay?
Yeah.
That sounds like a fair descriptor of that vacuum cleaner island once you come out of the car wash. It's the sporty colors and everything else. And the comment that I would have is, if it is that, and he says 2.5 feet off the ground, then this is a possible indicator of how much he will rubber band. And so what he would have to do is look and say, you know, if something's 6 feet tall, I call it 2.5 feet. And that will tell him how much he tends to distort distances or sizes or something like that. And so it's a good thing to just sort of jot down for memory. Next time there's a measurement, see if he's doing the same and all that. And over a period of time, he will find his own rubber banding tendency, which is different for everybody, by the way. And it will help him judge better on the distances, the measurements, and so on. So that's just a little aside. That's not saying that, you know, 6 feet is always 2.5 feet to his perception. It's saying jot it down, keep a record of all measurements and all that, and you'll start finding out how you distort measurements. Everybody does. And so everybody has to learn their own distortion, which is what we call rubber banding. And that was all. That was the comment.
Hey, that's what we're here for. All the comments, and while you've been commenting, obviously I'm pulling up sessions. might be a little difficult to, they don't all have names on them, so we might be fishing a little bit here, but we'll get them. Because if I don't have a name on the file, then I have to figure out who it belongs to. So this is the life of a project manager, y'all. So you see how important it is that when I ask you to label your target, your session on your PDF, target, coordinates, your last name, why it's important. Because now I get to go fishing, and you're going to get to fish with me. All right, let's see. All right, let me just see who I can, let's see, John, we finished. So I'm going to move him along. Richie's up over there in the middle of the night, but his summaries are in a special email. Who can I just grab in a hurry here? Let's do Janine. Janine is basic, converting from learning at home. So we're going to scroll down through structure to her. So we're not going to be going into phase 4. Here's her sketch, and she's learning how to label and number her sketches and put her perceptions underneath. So we've got some outdoor stuff going on here. Flat green landscape, wide open, blue, metallic, hard, angular, and dark color, large tree in the background, and green and brown. And by the way, she's making some really good progress. She has been working hard because her perceptions haven't been flowing. She sort of plateaued last year. So we're trying to work on some strategies for her. Lynn and I had talked a little bit about just telling her how to work on that. So,
Teresa?
Yeah.
For those who aren't aware of it and all that, would you go over the numbering at the sketch and putting the information down below so that everybody will understand?
Sure.
It's really very important.
I usually forget 1 or 2 points, so I'll start and Lynn will finish. Your sketches are ideograms, and as such, you will not necessarily have a finished sketch the first time you sketch. So you never ever want to obliterate anything in your session, never want to throw anything out, and you don't want to write on your sketch or scribble through it and then start over. You include your sketch, you get your first one, and if you that's not quite right, so you just do another one and another one and another one until you think it is right. If you want to probe it for perceptions, which a lot of people do, or you can move into phase 4 when you're intermediate and do it in columns and still label your sketch. But when you're in the beginning basic stage of CRV and you're in phase 3, you can probe that. You can work your target for a really long time. You probe your sketch because it's an ideogram and you number it wherever you think there are perceptions, and she's labeled this one 1, 2, and 3. And so she is now going up to the number 1, and she's writing these perceptions that match there, and these are written under the sketch, just the way you do, moving down the page as you document. And then, but I'm not sure, we have stuff off to the right here that's not a stray cat, or, hang on, I'm looking to see because, she sent me one for Dad. Whoops, and I opened it. I noticed your coordinates were a little strange on the file. We probably shouldn't spoil Dad's target for him. So
Okay.
we will finish this little discussion about labeling her sketches.
Yeah. You just leave that page. Can you just leave that page right there for a minute?
Yep, I'm not going to move because I'm not sure when this target's due.
Okay.
Oops.
Notice that she's got 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
These are the locations of the perceptions she got. Now,
right. Which is where I was going until I looked at her thing and
right.
saw that this isn't her target. Whoops.
Okay. The point is that once you've gotten that, you can still go back around the ideogram here and feel more stuff. And as you get more feel for the target, because you've gotten all through 3 things, you can go back and feel number 1 again, and all of a sudden you'll get more perceptions, and they will, you know, the other perceptions will prepare you for getting that one at 1. When that happens, you've already gone down your page 1, 2, and 3. The next number would be 1, because these are not one-up numbers. These are locations on the ideogram. So if you find something else at point number 1, you put number 1 again and keep going down with the new perceptions you got at point number 1. Then you keep going around. You may find something way out here in the empty space, and that would be point number 4. You're moving around again, and all of a sudden you find something else at point number 3. Then you put a 3. You put what else you find at point number 3. And so these are locations on your ideogram. They're not just one-up numbers. And that's very important for the analysis, for the analyst to come up later and find out what's going on. So, and like she has here, 1, unbalanced, large, and so on. If she went back and found number 1 and put in luminous and same size or larger, okay, that's not the way to do it. What you do is you go down under 3, you write 1 again, and you put the more advanced new perceptions that you're getting, and that way an analyst can tell the order in which you got things, which is very important. So when you do a sketch like this and you get the 1, 2, and 3, remember that those are not just one-up labels. Those are locations on your sketch. Okay? So I'll get off that soapbox now. But that's a very important thing for the analyst.
That was a very good soapbox. You just climb right up on it whenever you want. All right, maybe we should find Janine's real session. But that's her retasking. I'm trying to find her regular. I wonder if this might be it. And a little dousing prayer here. Yeah, nope, that's Michelle's. Okay, we're going with Michelle. We'll get back to Janine. We'll find it. All right, we have 13 pages. Let me see if I can decrease the size a little bit here. That's not enough. All right, we're scrolling. And oh, yeah, there's a note there. She and I talked on the phone last week or week before with the recent plane going down. I think at least she's fighting it, and I thought that was a very valid note. If there's a lot going on in the world and it's occupying everybody's mind, she keeps setting it aside. And so I am sorry we are moving along through these, but when we're doing double sessions in one discussion, I really can't take the time to go over every page. So, good AI, I am down left of the target. It feels like they are on a higher area of ground or platform. I'm interested to see what they're doing. I feel high energy of hurried preparation. Right? Nice sketch. Some kind of strips being laid out and snapped together, and she hears an air gun. Strips feel the narrow, clear plastic with LED light choices. Laying out miniature track, small natural plateau. And feels like more like a makeshift launching pad for a helicopter or operational craft. So we do have a little bit of naming and guessing what it feels like. So purpose, she says, is military or corporate task preparing an area as makeshift landing site. Summary, the target has aspects of man-made, land, space, motion, biologicals, and water. Plural man-made. The largest man-made is massive below-ground compound-like facility. It has solid reinforced thick walls, super large cement panels, dam-like design, and gold tan color. Inside and below, gently angled dark cement embankment. Man-made entrance area has curved low igloo, bubblish, long, arched, expansive metal beam skeletal as covered bridge-like design. There are squared air shafts topped with dark metal grates. There are hanging walkways at this man-made. There's some sort of accordion panel mechanism that is old camera shape with dark drape or ball game tarp rollout feature. Some parts of the man-made have huge pistons, groove trays, dividing planks, hinged boxes. Tumbler hoist is cone-lidded. Land is low-sloping, rocky area. It's water edge left or west of target. With mine-like roads, stone quarry cutting piles, it has industrial zone feel. Land is work area involving natural resources. Higher part of this land is manipulated like a dump site. I think I might be able to vouch for that, but there is no dumping here. Something is brought out and carried away. The space is serious outdoor work area, clock-focused activity of setup and preparation, measuring and marking, combing, and earth scraping attention to this waiting area. Motion had a pit stop vibe, all kinds of staging and preparation of a stopover as in something landing. Two main motions. One is about defining, cutting, and working as in high land area. The other motion was about stringing, reflecting, strobing tracks, visuals to accommodate landing changes. Biologicals were male, performance-driven in areas of engineering and navigating. They're on color-coded teams focused on traffic watching and safety gauging. Their main language is numbers. The water nearest the target is northwest, appears to be very deep, dark, and cold, has unusually clean and untouched or mysterious property that reminds me of Scotland's Loch Ness. There is a looks like fish farming at several spots, also water lab works. There's sound instrument, bouncing tower, large body of water, southeast, rough, rugged coast with water, dark green, brown, almost black and choppy. And I would like to say there's a water filtration plant about the same distance as the towers. So if you were doing an aerial look-see, that would be evident. And then let me see if I can find, I'm just going to take a jump. Well, this is some of hers. Let's see. Nope, that's not Michelle. It's here. I downloaded it. Here, I don't know if two of her pages didn't go through the scanner. Sometimes when people send sessions, the scanner will, if they're pulling them through, they mess up the pages and they come out of order, or they'll miss a couple. So just a second. Pretty. I thought Michelle was retapped. I'm looking, Michelle, to see if you... Doesn't say retasking on files. Just open this up and take a look. Same one we have. Looks like the same one we have. 13 pages. Yep, and it doesn't say retask, so we have that one up already. So much for that. Here's her original. So maybe... So here's 2 or 3 pages from her original email, as she puts it. And she gets a lot of information. And this is a girl, when she first started out, she was hard-pressed to get 3 pages. So here are some sketches, a sketch that she didn't show us before. And she's calling it Igloo and Bubblish. And I think that this, I'm glad we're seeing this because it does look like some of those bays. Lynn, you want to jump in just while I don't think I retasked her, but I can look.
Like you say, I think that's indicative of those bays. The thing is, I like the fact that she said igloo shaped. An igloo.
Yeah.
You got to watch those nouns; they will kill you. And she said igloo shaped, which is fantastic. That's great.
Yeah. I thought she gets a lot of information, and she fights. She's really artistic and descriptive, and she fights castle building constantly. But I thought that, we could touch on again her summary here. There's lots of, outline summaries take care a lot of the pure perception, castle building nouns, and they're easy to sort out. And do you have anything to say about that, Lynn? There is a mix here of her summary of the nouns and what she's analyzing and what she thinks is going on, and she's using her conscious mind as well as perception. So anything you'd like to touch on with that?
Well, I noticed when you were reading it that, she has descriptors, very good descriptors, by the way.
Yeah. Yes.
And being in sentence format like this, it's a natural tendency to end it by saying these, and coming to a conclusion, because that's what sentences do. And most of the things that I saw in there that would be mistakes were the nouns at the end of the sentences and so forth. However, a good analyst will know to throw those nouns out anyway and just take the descriptors. And so this is another thing that you need to learn if you're working with an analyst on a project or something. You use those nouns, they're going to get thrown out anyway, so you may as well just not even stick them in. You're there to describe. You are not there to identify. For one thing, when you have somebody who has a target, they know what the target is. What they want is descriptors. They want nouns. They already know what the nouns are. They want descriptors.
And I thought that a lot of her, when you peel her descriptors out, I thought that there were a lot of good ones in there. I don't know the percentage. Don't know the percentage, but and a lot of things that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is what I was saying to you before, that you're teaching them to remote view. And we have the saying that the purpose of a practice target is not to learn something about the target. It's to learn something about yourself. And I know students come here and the one thing they want to do is nail these targets in the first 3 days of a class. That's not what the class is about. You know, they can nail targets and go home and just be proud of that, and then go home and struggle to do the same kind of work at home. Or they can learn the remote viewing and not worry about the targets, learn the process, and once they get the process, they'll go home and do more good targets. So, you know, the process is more important than nailing a target. And people tend to think that if you nail the target, then you've had a good session. Well, as a teacher, let me tell you, if you learn something, you have a good session. If you nail the target and don't learn anything from doing it, as far as I'm concerned, you wasted your time. If you have the world's stinkiest, most ugliest miss of a session, but you learn something about yourself and about remote viewing, hey, as far as I'm concerned, that was a good session because you learned something. So, you know, this is what we were discussing earlier. You're here to learn remote viewing, not nail these targets. So if you get something that's not right, or you identify something incorrectly, don't worry about that. Look at the session. What did you learn from doing this target? That's the important part.
Nice session. I'm sorry, I have not been saying that. I think everybody's sessions, we are racing through them, but considering we're giving you a working target here, and not we, me, it's all me. Lynn gives you the pristine targets with all the depth and opportunities, and me, I pretty much am throwing you off the deep end holding a large object, because this is real life. This is what we do every day. And if you're really going to go out there and help somebody, I want to give you the opportunity to be exposed to things. And unless we do this kind of stuff and Lynn can show us and teach us, I think we're learning more than just nice little, you know, target practice stuff. I hope that made sense. Sorry. I'm on my soapbox. All right. TAP session. His first session summary, target appears large-scale view encompassing city and vista, waters very apparent, seaboard or Venice or below sea level. I think it's a coastal seaboard, sense of enduring over time. And then his perceptions, gigantic features of man-made nature eroded. He's got Great Wall of China, more an AOL of Great Wall of China, water, sand, flight of steps. It's warm and sunlit there. He's feeling lichen growth and hard rock. It smells spicy and intense. And he has an AOL of Anglo-Saxon and pre-Spanish, South American, and Oriental. And so possibly there was somebody Hispanic in there at the moment. That's two of you. And perhaps some origins in each, but not any of those time frames. Then he's got strong sense of tourist destination. He hears bird calls, staircase, multiple complexity, maze-like, tall, multiple supporting arches, curved and sweeping, gargantuan scale panoramic view, and huge numbers of individual bricks, rocks, components, and angles. And he has an AOL of the Pentagon, a military HQ building, and a city densely populated grid pattern. And this is not the session that I was remembering retasking him from. So let me see what I can see here with his first PDF. That's right there. And let me see here. Okay, here's his retasking. Subtask, as he calls it. Move to that which you say is water and describe. Water is salty, foamy, polluted, and oily. At least one or more likely two vessels are passing under the bridge. One can land jet aircraft on. Both can carry and are carrying helicopters. Neither is propelled by nuclear reactors. Both have gas turbine engines. Feel very high technology. Military, fast. Is not moving fast but can move fast if required. Complex, deceptive scale, elusive element of and to the craft. And we've got wave, flat,
okay, can I make a comment there?
Yep.
The retasking was to describe the water.
Yep.
And the first sentence is to the tasking, and the rest is off tasking, which will tend to make a person build castles. And so, if you stick just to the tasking, then I think you'll find down below here that he's got some really good descriptors of the water, but like in a real operation, when somebody comes back and says, "Tell me about the water," what they want to know about is the water. And other impressions may be accurate, they may be pertinent and all that, and they should not be ignored. But you can write them down as notes over to the side, and all of this about the military and all that could be written down as notes. Whereas the summary itself should be completely about the water because that's what was tasked. So water is salty, foamy, polluted, and oily. That's the important part of this summary.
One thing I'd like to say, and Pat, I gave you a mic. We don't have enough mics, so I took one away from Michelle and gave it to you. So you can talk, and you usually do. But I know when I reviewed, I've never gone over Ed Dame's methodology, and I know when I reviewed another methodology of someone else, they would do 3 sessions and then I think compare each of the sheets. Now, I would like to just say, I'll say that Pat sent me multiple sessions and he would redo them. So I'm not sure if he is doing what he's used to and getting 3 different sessions and then he compares, or if he was thinking he would do it better and so do it again. But I'd like to say that I had trouble retasking him because the session that I did, his original, he thought that it was the San Francisco Bay Bridge. And I emailed him and said, can I get a list? If he'd have said anything that was structure, I would have retasked him with that. But I couldn't retask him using the San Francisco Bay Bridge because I'd have gotten more. San Francisco Bay Bridge. It's a noun and it's an identifier. So
you don't ever task with that, yeah.
Right. So between Pat, if you could explain just your methodology and why so many sessions instead of one session, and say, okay, I'm taking a break and I want to come back and get more. Instead of continuing your session and taking a break, what it is with your methodology that has you redo them and send them in, because someday I'd like to all work targets and projects together. It may not happen for a really long time, so I have to understand why you do what you do. And so anyway, if you could explain that to me, I'd appreciate it. And Lynn, maybe you already know what he's doing because you speak all the languages. So, yep. I'm going to go back and turn my camera back on. Not that it's any great loss.
Does Pat have a microphone?
Yeah. Gave him one. He said he can't unmute it. I just did.
Hello?
There you go.
Right, I'm on. Okay.
You're on. You're live.
Okay.
Go.
The first session, I essentially got some sort of urban built-up area, multiple levels, sand, gravel, a lot of water. Second session, put those together as bridge over a bay. Third session was asked about the water. Now, what I did was, at the beginning, I moved away from the water to look down at the water, what I perceived as water, what I said was water, to give me a downwards view, which gave me two objects parallel. Then I went down to that level and looked at them close up. So if you actually look at the sketches, you can see why this came up, because the first thing I did was move away to get a long view, and then I returned to the level the water was at to get a close view. Now, yes, there is an awful lot of elements mentioned which aren't in the feedback. That's fair enough. I acknowledge that. In terms of there being elements there which are in the feedback, in terms of being two parallel objects with a wake or a wash off them, there is something there. So I'd say this was, in terms of site contact, one of my average sessions with an awful lot of AOL and castle building going on to it. And there you go. That's just the way it turned out. This isn't Ed Dame's methodology, by the way.
Yeah, I was just trying to sort out for me, because I have multiple sessions coming in like every other day, and they're not really taking breaks. They're like redos. And so I'm trying to keep up and figure out what you're doing so I can stay on the same page.
Sure. But, like I said, this is the third session from the initial task.
Right.
So at this point, I've been asked to describe the water. What I did was move away and then move close to it. So I've got an idea of what the water was like, but I appreciated the water wasn't the target. As it were. I was trying to get a view of what the target was on the third session.
The thing is, when you send in multiple sessions like that, I have to put them all together and start filtering through. If you would just take a break and continue the session, then it comes through in one document, and maybe you could even be probing stuff that is now like maybe not recorded or gets lost in the shuffle or whatever. It's just something to consider. If you're working targets for other people, you certainly don't have to do them my way. I was just pointing out that, one smooth flowing instead of disjointed report is a help, and I would hate to see good things kind of fall out and not get reported by the time you're totally done. So I didn't know if you were just trying to redo and do better, or if you were building.
Well, one of the interesting
my
things about this for me was when I was getting the impression of the San Diego Bridge, as it were, I got a subconscious voice asking me which way to the nuclear vessels. It was a soundbite from a Star Trek movie, Voyage Home.
Yeah.
When I got that, when your subconscious is telling you jokes, you know there's something there which isn't right. As in, you are making fun of yourself in a session. But that's okay, because picking up on those moments when you realize there's a comedy element, a humor element, that means there's something wrong, but it also means it's not wrong the way you think it is. So maybe at that point, I should have just said, okay, go back to the first ideogram, start it from scratch, without the castle building. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to take your retasking and go that way just to see where I ended up. But it's an alternative method. If you're getting yourself telling jokes, it's a sign of something seriously wrong with your viewing and sight contact.
Actually, I think Lynn and I might have something to say about phase sevens and associations and stuff like that. It's not wrong.
The thing about when your subconscious is playing tricks on you and pulling jokes on you and all that, enjoy them.
Oh yeah.
And it's not that something's wrong. It's that it's generally caused by the fact that it has been telling you things seriously and you haven't been hearing it or you haven't been paying attention to it. And so it tries a new tack. And the puns, the jokes, and all that, almost always, well, I will even say always, have a kernel of truth inside of them, so that if you enjoy the joke, but then you say, what was that about? And you get to the core of why that joke was made, generally it'll get you back on target.
Yeah, I think it was a case of, it was more the sense of the voice was not coming from in front of me, the voice was coming from behind me, as if to say, where you're pointing at now, where your focus is totally not what it should be.
Yeah.
That was a subliminal message, as in, okay, you're wrong, look over here instead. It's like redirect attention.
When you have like the voice that comes from behind you and all, that is definitely a stage 7, and generally you pay attention to it.
Okay.
Yeah, but enjoy those because they're the better you get at remote viewing, the fewer times those things are going to happen because your subconscious isn't having to try something different with you. And the remote viewing gets a little bit more boring. Enjoy those things when they happen like that because they're treasures. But they, like I say, they will disappear as you learn how to remote view. And I think some of my funniest sessions happened earlier on, and I still remember those sometimes above the others when the entire success of the session was tied up in a pun or a joke. There was one where all the way through the session, there was this song that I couldn't get out of my mind. It just, stuck in my mind about, I think it was Lucy in the Sky, Lucy in the Sky, just that one part, that one phrase of that one song. And the next line of that song is with diamonds. And the target was a picture of 2 hands filled with diamonds. And my my session, when I looked at it, it had sparkle, it had flat faces, flat sides, and all this other stuff. And then I just got haunted by this song, and I finally just ended the session and told my monitor, look, I can't go any further because of this damn song I can't get rid of. And he said, you haven't written anything down that there was a song. And I said, no, it's been bothering me. And he said, okay, well, write down what you're getting. And I wrote down Lucy in the Sky, ... And he said, okay, well, let's end the session now. I want you to see the feedback.
And I had one that wasn't a session, but in real life, there was a stray dog came to my house, and anyway, it wouldn't calm down and kept yelling, and I sang the song. It's like sing to it, hit the road, Jack, because I was taking it to a friend, and the dog's name was Jack, and so I know that isn't a real session, so it doesn't count. But songs and poems and movies and all that stuff, they're usually a reminder that there's something valid in those. They're not just jokes that are being played on you. So I'm sorry, Lynn, you were going to say something?
Well, as you get more advanced, these jokes and puns and things will go away, but the stage 7s will change, and what will happen is you'll get something that will be like a joke or a pun or something, and yet what it's doing is it's giving you information about the target that is so complex that that it acts as almost a one sentence or one 2 or 3 word analogy of what the entire target is. And so a lot of times your subconscious will say, I'm not going 5 or 6 more pages, and it'll just give you an analogy of something like, your target may be, I can't really think of one right now, but I know there was one where it was a family situation, missing child, and the pun, the phase 7 that I kept having was Adolf Hitler, Adolf Hitler, Adolf Hitler. Well, the missing child had run away from home because of the parent, and rather than giving me that in 5 or 6 more pages, my subconscious just came up with a stage 7 of, hey, Adolf Hitler. That was the entire thing, So
for tyranny, sort of thing.
yeah, so the phase 7s will actually change, but the jokes and the puns, the funny ones, they tend to go away. Too bad. I wish they would stay.
Thank you.
Give yourself more credit, Patrick. You're getting good stuff in those.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, this is pretty good.
Maybe not nuclear
I'm not
weapons,
unhappy.
but
I'm not unhappy. Yeah.
Just patting you on the back. I'm no nuclear weapons, but anyway. I went ahead and found Terry's first session and retasking. There's 15 pages here, and she's sketches. Usually she has a ton of sketches. So she's got a platform that's held up and supported, extending. A running platform can move outward with it. Let me flip this guy around. There we go. I even did it right the first try. Maybe I'll go to church on that one. So here is her initial sketch that she builds on. Open and in between here in these spots, and there are railings. And there's water at the base, a solid platform. She's numbering her sketch too. I'm trying to see where, Just in general. I don't see a 1 in the sketch. It's solid platform, heavy, substantial vertical lines along a vertical wall go under this, and it's open underneath. It's sightseeing and leisure, she thinks, is the purpose. Let's see if I can do this right. Did I get this one wrong? What do you want that? Yeah, anyway. Be very careful. Then she's in phase 4. And there's like a conveyor belt moving in between 2 walls or railings. And she's good. She's got way over here in the SCCS column seagulls and bridge, they're bird sounds. Okay, and she's very into enlarging on her sketch. There's something beyond the vertical she's seeing. And she's enlarging here. Now we have underneath, supported in the air, water possibly at the base, crisscross support system, not sure how it's set up. Walk with railings that seems to stop, ascend by ladders to some point, and high walkway openish underneath. Triangle at some point, and watching, acting from here with a question mark stands. Now she's got spaced, post, supportive. Water purpose involved. People can go under this. And then she's got attached to spread out pine needles and branches. Lynn, if you want to tuck that one into your brain as I zoom by. And then she's got structures in the distance.
Okay, can you go back to the pine needles and all? Okay. Pine needles, branches. I'm very glad that she's got these written down on the right-hand side because she's drawn a picture of the brushes. and splayed, reported, splays connected. Okay. And so basically what you would do with the sketches usually go in the middle, by the way, in CRV. They don't have to. They can go anywhere on the page. But you would start describing this, and you would feel around this because this is an ideogram. Notice the curve right there that is under that first splayed part. Now this is a stretch, okay, that could show the rotation of the brushes or whatever. But anyway, what you would do is you would start feeling around this. And as you feel something at each different place, you would mark that place. Can you go back to that very first sketch of hers real quick?
Yep. Going. I think, was this it? Or is there another one?
I think there's one right above it. No.
This one?
Maybe it was the sideways one. Yeah, I think it was the sideways one.
Okay. Flipping.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Notice how she has one solid platform, heavy, substantial, vertical lines along vertical wall. Go under this, open underneath. What the proper way to do for doing analytical work later is like she would have the one on the platform and say one, solid, platform-like, heavy, substantial. Then up on these vertical parts, she would have a two, vertical, along vertical wall, okay? And then down underneath here, she would have a three, can go under, open, and so on. And maybe, feel it again. Is it dark under there? Is it light under there? Is it airy? Is it open space? What is the ambiance under there? What are the noises? What are the smells and all that? And just get details on each spot. And that would, instead of saying one, sketch one, and all of this, which doesn't really place any information on any part of the sketch. You would have the 1, 2, 3 on the different parts of the sketch, and under it you would have that. So that's what I wanted to say about those, what I'm taking to be the brushes. You would have the ideogram, but then you feel around it. You actually poke it with your pen or your finger, and as you feel around it, you'll get smells, tastes, textures, colors, and all that. And that's where you mark a 1, go over and put what's at point number 1. Then you find something else as you feel around it, point number 2. You go over and you write down what's at point number 2, and so on. And you wouldn't believe how helpful that is for the viewer, not just for the analyst, but it gives the viewer a very spatial awareness of the site itself. And as you keep going like that, by touching it, and touching it in tiny little places and figuring out what's at each place, as you do that, you're going to get sight contact like you wouldn't believe. Remember, remote viewing is a physical discipline, not just a mental one. The more you touch that thing, the more you tap it, the more you feel around it, the better sight contact you're going to get. Okay, off the soapbox.
And here is, she wanted to, P4, structures in the distance. So she's moved off target and is now describing structures in the distance without actually documenting a move command, by the way.
Actually, the P4 structures in distance, that will generally be accepted as a move command.
Okay.
She has shown that she's moving to a different place.
Okay. She evidently got it up there in my scrolling. Telescoping like tiers, rectangular designs, repeated, progressively smaller shapes. She has it like showing over top, and now you'll notice her sketch of what I am taking to be the car wash. If you remember, the back side actually had repeated solid posts. It had those. She's got possibly wooden.
Okay, once you get into stage 4, if you have numbered the different places on your sketch, then when you get into stage 4, you can cue just by simply writing those numbers down in parentheses, and that will be your cue that you can go back to that sketch, feel it at that point, and get all kinds of stage 4 information.
Now she has her energy at the base corner splays outward. So we were almost at the end here. And she feels like there's more of a monument in design statue of a person, which I wasn't coming up with anything that might fit. Maybe it'll jump out at somebody else. So we have a typewritten summary, which I think we've covered a lot of this. Dark colored, long platform-like structure, possibly with metallic railings on at least one, maybe both sides, still supported by a series of long, slender, rounded vertical posts, possibly constructed of rough, dark wood. Maybe additional supportive posts forming triangles. The walkway ends abruptly, reminding me of extended docks. Something can drop or jump off from the end of this plank-like walkway. Feels open, unrailed at the end. At one point, I had the impression of a series of these walkways descending, which remind me of bleachers. There may be steep stairs or a ladder at some point used to access the platform or walkway. Walkway feels open to the air in a sunny, warm, spring-like location near water. Maybe that just sounds good to me in the middle of our snowy winter weather. Man-made too, although there's an impression of ocean-like water affiliated with this site, it feels solid and dry under the walkway, not dock-like. Under the walkway, it feels like there's dark-colored, contained structure of some type of constructed of wood. Feels like there's an open area in front of the structure, like a covered porch area. It's much dimmer, shaded under this covered area. Maybe a few broad, possibly wooden steps in front of this area. It feels like there are only a few steps, not steep, and that they run the length of the structure. The structure may have a commercial purpose, but on a small scale. It feels touristy. Inside the structure, there seems to be some type of artificial yellow lighting. Man-made 3, something fairly thin and vertical, seems to be attached to a light-colored mound. Mound is possibly a landform. Seems to be a repeated pattern of splayed needle-like things attached to a longer, thin length of something solid. It may be natural, such as a pine tree, but it's unclear to me. The light-colored mound described above also has impressions of being soft and fluffy and possibly consists of something of many different pieces. Reminds me of particles of sand or separate leaves, something that can fly apart. Man-made 4 feels like this. Thank you for numbering these man-mades, by the way. That's perfect. Feels like there is a man-made structure that can be viewed beyond or behind the walkway structure. It seems to have a telescoping shape, progressively smaller or thinner from top to bottom to top. It appears light-colored, tan ivory with possibly a bit of rust orangish or light brown colors, slightly rough textured, constructed of some type of naturalish material like small stones or concrete. Initially, I thought it was a large building, but it may be some type of structure situated on a rectangular base. Reminds me of a monument or statue of a person in a city square. Base is solid and has a basic square or rectangular shape with fairly sharp edges. But above that, it has more of an irregular or unusual shape, which seems to be constructed of the same material. It feels like there's some type of energy emitting from either the rectangular base or next to the rectangular base that splays outward. It seems like there are hard, concrete-like walking areas surrounding this structure. Water element consists of the feeling of a large body of water near this area, which feels like the sea. Whole environment feels oceanside, and for some reason I keep worrying about getting my feet wet. Biologicals are felt to be moving forward in a line along the above walkway towards the open end. The feeling of launching or jumping off from the end, which reminds me of a diving point. It may be that something is thrown or cast from this platform at several points. There's a repeated sound of birds, which reminds me of seagulls. There's a feel of several or many biologicals milling about at this site, engaged in different activities. Some feel like they are relaxed and meandering, and some feel more purposeful. Near the rectangular structure, it seems noisier and busier with people talking and car sounds. There's an impression of a fairly good-sized ball of something out in the open, which feels like the entwined string forming the shape, which may be situated on or near the platform described above. Overall, there is a fairly normal, everyday feel to this site, like people are engaging in idle, easygoing activities.
Can I make a mention here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You notice how there's so much stuff in this that was not in the session transcript itself?
Mm-hmm.
That is beautiful. Even though you don't get things in your session, you get them. And you can still remote view while you're doing your summary. And one of the benefits of doing the run-on sentence and paragraphs and all that is that that type of summary will force you to go ahead and get those things that you did not write down in your summary. Now notice too that all through her summary, she avoided identification. There are some nouns in there, but they're not identifying nouns. Look at this, repeated sounds of birds. Okay, that's the sounds of birds. And then she says, which remind me of seagulls. She did not say, these are seagulls. This is a beautiful summary. 3 gold stars for this one. Okay, this is fantastic. There are so many good things about this. You know that I don't like the run-on paragraph summaries, but if you're going to do one, this is the perfect example. It's just fantastic. If I were an analyst and somebody gave me paragraph type summary, this would be the kind I would want. Okay, this is make it 4 or 5 gold stars here.
And then here's a retasking, and again, she loves towers, and a lot of times she will miss the target that describes something at the location if it has anything to do with the tower. And so I thought, okay, girl, this time you hit the target, you notice this in the distance. I think there's something that really matches what you're saying, so I moved her there. I said, go tell me about the tower. You want to do towers? We're going to do towers. So I tried to show her these things that she did make sight contact before we went and explored the tower. So I carved her sketch out and told her to tell me more about it and include purpose and any and all identifying features that you notice. And so this was only 10 pages. Again, she's being retasked. She started her session in phase 4. That's where she was in session. I don't see that she did take coordinates once, but no ideogram. So maybe that was just a label. I'm not really sure. But anyway, we're off and running. And now she's getting city-like sounds are far away, busyness, outside, elevator. Want to get to the top. Top is important. Circular at the top. Reminds her of the straight path Space Needle and Citadel Tower. And rotating at the top, around and around, people inside, something, and she asks a question and answers it with a no right beside it. So something is attached to the top peak and might rotate or turn. She's enlarging our sketch. There's a ball-like thing attached to a thin rod-like thing. Roundedness and blues and energy attached to something. Energy goes up it. Possibly ball may have a pattern. Hexagon, octagons, earth design. There's a ball-shaped structure, rounded, and it's attached to something. Turn and face the target and describe. Yes! Light-colored, metallic, shining. And still, Lynn's mentioned move those sketches into the middle, please. Attach top to bottom.
That's not an absolute rule, by the way. It just found that anything you put on the right-hand side,
right,
you reserve the right-hand side for analysis, and so anything else you would want to kind of keep out of the right-hand side. Not for any other reason than getting your subconscious into the habit of putting analysis whenever your hand is over there on the right-hand side. The right-hand side is for left brain stuff. And
right, so it makes me think that she thinks that she's not possibly to trust these sketches for some reason, which
yeah, that could be. But
we can elaborate on that here in a second.
There's no hard and fast rule about where to put your sketches.
Mm-hmm.
But we have found over time that if you put your hand over on the right-hand side of the page, it says to your conscious mind, ooh, I can get in here and use logic now. And so So that's the only thing, but there's no hard and fast rule about that.
I'm just scrolling on down here, obviously. And I don't know if there's a weather vane up there or a lightning rod or what. Okay, land element, I didn't get this perception until starting the summary, but there's something about this target that has to do with digging in the dirt. I can't shake the impression need to keep digging and digging in pure, partially damp dirt with my hands with a shovel. It's so strong. Part of it reminds me of a giant raking its fingers through dirt, making repeated furrows in the ground, and it feels like there's a lot happening in the ground here. Man-made element, a light-colored, possibly beige, tower-like, rectangular-shaped structure, which may be constructed of stone or stone brick materials in horizontal layers. It's a bit rough-textured, medium height, solid, and fairly plain with rectangular openings here and there. Feels quieter here, and it may be an older building. It seems dimmer inside with fairly plain, rough constructions of natural stone-like materials. There may be a series of stairs to access the structure. The rectangular section feels like it is used as an access to the upper section, like the purpose of this tower is to access the area above. The above area feels like the roof of the rectangular structure. It is darker colored than the main part of the building, vertically lined or constructed so that it feels vertically lined, has a pyramid-type shape with arched openings, possibly on all four sides. It feels like there is an opening which makes this area accessible from below, maybe short walls at the base of the arches, or I may just want them to be there so I don't fall out. Although this area feels fairly open, something seems to be in the center of this area, which may be behind a railing or fenced off. Separated area may contain something iron, or at least something heavy, possibly some kind of basic, simple machinery. It's darker and cooler inside. It feels quiet here, but this seems like an area that people climb into. This area reminds me of a bell tower. Something seems to be attached to the peak of the triangular roof-like shape. Feels like a hard, possibly metallic, solid rod which has something mounted at the top. Mounted object feels round and decorative. It may be blue. It feels like several metallic straight pieces stick out, framing it. Energy element, it feels like there's some type of energy affiliated with the above described mounted object, which could possibly be a light. Feels like energy runs up through the rod that it's attached to. Biologicals feel like they ascend the rectangular-shaped tower structure to get to the triangular-shaped area. It feels like there are biologicals which work in some way in this area, but simply maybe just one or two people and other biologicals visit this area. It feels like there are views from this area, but not vast, just local. And overall, it feels calm and peaceful, has an explorational, historical, or possibly a religious purpose. The feel of digging in the dirt is really strong, and there's something about the ground at this site. And it did have that quarry feature to it. Just saying.
If it's a grain elevator, then it would definitely be, digging in the dirt, which is what it looks like. And by the way, her stray cat's at the end. The first stray cat is elevator.
Yeah, she had elevator in the T column in P4.
Which in farming country has a different meaning than it does in downtown New York.
That's right. And there's it from a different view. Okay. So she doesn't think she described the tower very well. Okay, so did you address the tasking? And it's not that you don't get other stuff and throw it away. It's your session. Interesting perception about the retasking was digging in the dirt, and can it be seen from Google Earth? Let's rock it. And of course, probably not going big here. Let me see. I don't know how to fast track Street View, so I don't want to do that. I have it here ready to pull up. Might take me a minute. Going right or left. Okay, here's the car wash right here. Oh, no. Just because I did that does not mean it thinks I did. But see if I can enlarge this. I have to deal with over on the right. I need to keep that screen visible. So, okay, the car wash was on its left. The easiest way is just go up the road and hang a right rather than going cross country, because then I get to deal with messing with Google Earth. Maybe on second thought that might have been easier. It was going to be quite that far, but then again, here we go. I couldn't remember for sure. No.
It's going to show up flat underneath that angle you're viewing.
Yeah, can I inflate this?
No, just go up over it, look down.
Hang on. How do I get exit ground view? Just a minute. I can drive on the road though and do it because I've done it. I just did it earlier today. Why isn't it going to let me do it now?
You're looking for street view, not
Yeah.
not trying to get down onto the ground. You're looking for street view.
All right. I'd like to find street view too, actually. I could just see it on the toolbar. I'm looking for suggestions here since I'm not handling the tools very well. I did. I drove this like in a little vehicle. It was fun. And why won't it let me do it? Little man icon, drag it onto the street. Michael, yes. All right. Now I'm looking for little man icon. That's it. Okay. Yeah, right. Darn it.
Looks like your computer runs as slow as mine does. Is my computer blanked out or is yours? Oh, okay. I think her video is just blanked, or is just stopped. Yeah. She's been having some computer problems lately too. So I got a brand new big, humongous supercomputer and it's just trashed. I hooked up to the internet once and it's trashed. No, the thing, I don't think it's viruses. I've run every computer virus checker and all that. The thing is, you hook up to the internet and you get just all kinds of stuff stuck on your machine and you don't even know it. You don't even know about it. If it had a name. Oh. And Google tends to be one of the worst of all. I don't know if you know, but they're trying to get Google sued for violating anti the anti-wiretap laws because Google is collecting so much personal information about you that it amounts to wiretapping.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think Teresa's gone the way of all things though here. So I don't know if she's going to be able to log back on or not.
Yeah, it might have been video overload, as in machine couldn't cope with recording the webinar, which would be a shame.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. I'm looking at the same area on Google Earth now, and I must admit I cannot find that car wash on Experimental Farm Road. I think it could be that the imagery, because I'm looking at it on satellite, the imagery isn't new enough to actually show it. I could be wrong on that though.
You know, I was kind of confused by that because she went from the car wash over to another major highway. And when she went down to that highway, it told that the name of that highway was Experimental Farm Road. And
Teacher.
yeah,
Hi.
howdy.
Who's been in charge of stick while I was gone?
We've just been gossiping about you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it kept you busy. Actually, the car wash is on Experiment Farm Road, and then I hung a right, I think it might be Lytle Road, Lytle, over to County Road 25A. And we're not going to do any more Google Earthing, if y'all don't mind. Ugh.
Good idea.
Ugh. And it was my idea. I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that. Sure. Okay. So I pulled, while it was booting up, I pulled up my email again. So we were finishing Terry's. Did we have anything else to cover on Terry's? Because it's 9:49 and we still have sessions.
Now, are you going to be able to get to everybody's tonight?
I don't know. Let's see. Richie still here? Middle of the night over there for him. I don't even know if he.
I don't think Richie has been here all
Richie's not
evening.
here. Okay,
No.
good. We'll skip his for the moment. Let me get the chat back up. Let's see who else is here. We can grab. Mojo's was here. Okay, that's Pat. Don't want that one. Okay. Yep, this is Mojo's. We can take a fast look at his. I'm sorry, I don't mean to short anybody here. And he's got 9 pages. Go to the right time and place of the target. Doing lots better with structure.
I was noticing on the stage 1, he's got the shape of the ideogram, but not the feel. And,
actually,
angle.
over here on the right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's okay. Actually, Mojo, if you could write the upside down walk. It's usually like up, slant, over, down, and then the feel of the ideogram, which is hard, goes under the very last thing on A, and then B is your gestalt that you've decided that is for that ideogram, unless it's an unknown to you, and you work it as such. Okay, now we're getting, I'm in a rush standing here, seeing what perceptions he had as he came up on this T3. And he's good. He numbered his sketch, and 1 is a loop, and 2, he's got some nouns going on here. Carrier, job, hope, and luck. 3 is laughter, joking, mood. Corrective, jet black, running down. And we're moving into phase 4. Some interesting looking creatures. Scrolling down through here. Okay, the summary says, space has a wavy, rolling feel to it, somehow, some kind of a flow, energetic, peace, happy, it's extravagant and relevant. There are people, biological, seem to be people, possibly competing and gaining fame. Arc, it looks like Ace. They are swift.
They're swift. It seems
childish.
Yeah.
Clear that they are concerned about their carriers. Got to do it anyway. The man made its valuable information. Gathering of information that was stated. Was adjusted, competing. He's really moving through these columns. and trying to do, an outline summary here. And
Yeah, this is
uh-huh.
needs a little training on outlining, but yeah.
And then man made the sparkling gold blue pieces or loops are linked together, attached and fitting together. And a double high five for giving it a go like this. So much. This is so much better than when you very first started. Resonation of a low tone. Sorry, Lynn.
No, I was saying, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't make, there was no white space on his paper when he first started, and it's not that I want him to not report perceptions. It's pretty hard to figure out where he was at and where he was going. So this is a lot of progress and a lot of dedication and devotion to try and get the reporting structure down. Man-made has pieces as a mechanical system or device used for tests, maybe even financial purposes. Well, it does have a financial purpose. I had to pay for that car wash. Actually, I paid for 2 because I messed up on the first one. I had a very clean car that day. Thanks, Pat. Very good. I'm sorry, Mojo. I know I whipped through that really fast. Is there something you'd like to type in, or if you have a mic if you want to speak? And as to your sketch of the biologicals, I can neither confirm nor deny. There had to be people there driving the cars, obviously. Looking a little bit on the reptilian side. You aren't the first person to get water and see. All right, I'm watching to see if you are going to type anything in, okay? And then Janine sent in a session, and she is here. I'm just looking. Here we go. All right, 13 pages. Did we go over this one already and we needed to do retasking? Okay, here's your stage 3 sketch, and again, numbering perceptions for underneath her sketch is new for her, so she's giving that a try this time. I showed her one of Aveline's sketches, actually, and she was going to give it a practice shot. And we did go through this because I was saying how rolling perceptions for her have been a problem. And she's starting to, they're starting to roll again.
Can you go back to the stage 3 sketch?
I can.
Okay, right under this. This is what I was mentioning earlier. See, quiet and long are on the same line. Many times an analyst can tell more about the target by the order you get the perceptions than they can from the perceptions alone, or else the order you get them adds to the meaning. And if you have 2 things on the same line, the analyst cannot tell which one came first. And so I know it seems like a terrible waste of paper, but remote viewers are tree colors anyway, so it's always best to write each perception right under the other one. And that way, when you get into real work, not practice, but real work operations, practice is real work, by the way, the analyst can tell the order in which you got those perceptions. That's all I wanted to say.
And Mojo, I'll key up your mic here in a second, because I remember now that it wasn't working last time. We couldn't figure out why. And the water part of things seems to be staying with her. There is water at the target, and I know Lynn, we've talked about this before. Even though to me this looks like a boat, and the skeptics would nail her to the cross because there are no boats at this target that we can see, it is a vehicle. So, anyhow, sorry, I'm keying up my camera again. Two wooden boards or planks, and there's a flat surface, horizontal leading away, brown gray, rounded projection. I'm still working on that boat thing. Go directly to the assigned target and describe. All right, Lynn, you've pointed out her sketches months ago. If you look at the actual sketch, and when you look at her descriptors and her summaries, and drop out the nouns, you're going to get a lot of good perception.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like you say, the boat sketch may show that there is a vehicle going through a horizontal passageway that has water all over it and is walled in on both sides. And the identification of a boat may just be the stray cat that says, hey, this is a vehicle in water. Oh, therefore it must be a boat, you know.
Right.
And if she's doing that, then that puts her right down there with the rest of us.
Well, I can remember Michelle a long time ago on the target. It was the power plant, and I think I forget which exact thing that she drew. It wasn't a power plant, but it was something that manufactured power. I can't remember exactly which target that was. But it's like I superimposed the concept, and she has the concept down, even though she may have named the wrong, a grist mill is a power plant of a different sort, or it was a pump house. I remember she drew a pump house at one of the targets, and it wasn't the exact whatever source of power it was we were looking at, but the concept was there. And so, this gets pretty tricky. The target has aspects of natural, man-made, and object, natural, water, and motion. Natural appears to have elements of land and water in some type of interface. The water appears to be moving gently up and down, seems to be bordered with a type of land or man-made on its perimeter. First man-made appears to be long, narrow structure, low to the ground, and comprised of either dark gray or brown wood. Its rough texture has a parallel feature to it, and there may be more than one of these. The second man-made appears to be a structural type of object with height, length, angled, and curved. Seems to be white and shiny and high off the surface. Appears to be on or near the water aspect of the target. Target appeared quiet, but there's a sense of biological somewhere nearby. And she has AOLs of appear in a boat.
And this may be an answer to your first question. In showing the grain elevator, you notice it appeared in most people's sessions, whether they were tasked with it or not. And so that is a situation, there's a possible situation where the feedback influences the past and causes them to get something in the session that is not the actual target. And that happens.
Sorry, me teaching. We don't get to spend time with you, Sensei, so I snatch what I can.
slap your hand and,
I know.
No,
Bad teacher, but it gives me a chance to let you work. So,
well, it also shows that everybody was remote viewing. And, you don't have to slap your hand over that one.
Terry's got, I had grain in the first session as a POCA. Well then, stuck on that tower. Tell me, nice job, stuck on the tower. Tell me about the man-made that you describe as long, narrow structure. So, okay, she's giving retasking a go. And this is the woman who loves to poke around inside structures, and she loves nouns. So the fact that she's moving away from that and doing better with her perceptions is a big leap that she's worked hard at. So we've got leading up to this structure, it's dark, weathered, rough. She has an AOL of bridge, barge-like layered, long, cylindrical components at the bottom, something flatter on top, covered with something else. Move to the assigned target and describe. There we've got those little igloo guys. Sky, water, curled, springing, spiraling. So I don't remember that she got the little igloo guys with her structure before, which I just told her to go to the structure and describe what she called the structure. Energetic, look at all the up and down stuff going. Tall, she's got rounded grass, light. Greenery, brown, wet, beach and clay, or turpentine. Got some nouns going there. Go to the assigned target. Go to one of the biologicals. What do you perceive? Bent over, curled up, feet are crossed, arms around the legs, knees to the chest, hunched over, male, flying through the air, odd Swedish odor, and pressure in the ears or nose. Swedish as in sweet tasting, not Sweden, Swedish. My Midwestern twang wrapped around that. My hair follicles are standing up. Ooh, what made her hair follicles stand up? Okay. Go to the assigned target. What else do you perceive? Another person biological kind of sketch. Someone with limbs awkwardly out in all directions, jumping through the air, falling, nostalgia. Reminds her of kids playing with a question mark. And sounds echoing in silence and singing in the air like vibration. Well, I hate to say this, it's not in the feedback, but beside me there were some people in the parking lot with kids. I don't remember exactly what the kids were doing, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm ducking now, because the wet noodles are going to get dumped all over my head. I can't do a 360 on every site here. So, large male, square, middle-aged, short white hair, and officious. And by the way, confession, they were Hispanic. They went to the car wash, they were beside me taking the picture. Okay, I confess. Target has aspects of natural, a man-made object, biological, and motion. Target appears to be a large wooden, partially wooden structure, which is flat on top, longer than it is wide, with a layered construction and some sort of long cylindrical poles underneath. It's dark brown-gray, made of rough materials and raised above ground. Natural element appears to be made up of long, grassy, wet marsh and possibly trees on the ground. Perceives several biologicals. Bio appears to be a young male who was curled up with his legs crossed and knees up to his chin, his arms around his knees. He seemed to be flying through the air. Bio 2 appeared to be male, which perceived in an awkward pose with his arms and legs stuck out in all directions. It was an impression of energy and either jumping or falling through the air. Brief impression of older male rather large, square, middle age with short white hair. Also, an odd impression of something around flying through the air like a ball. There was also a brief impression of arches or enclosed space. And that was her retasking, and she has over on the notes here, she's got smells. So I'm looking to see if you have anything you want to type in, Janine. I've commented on down through here how you are making progress, and I mean, a year ago, you would have had more nouns in this session than you would have had perceptions. So this is progress. Clay and beach or turpentine were smells. Gotcha. Aha. So next time in session, you are going to say, you're not going to put, you can put those down as stray cats, or you can say clay-like and then describe those. Bleach-like smell, or a note off to the right, reminds me of bleach. Then Lynn, if you want to say anything about, what reminds her of bleach. I mean, if it's a smell or, there's all kinds of stuff hiding out in there, like cleaning or disinfecting or what have you.
If I were to do that, I would be identifying and not describing, which is what she did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but just stick. But if she would have written on the left-hand side,
mm-hmm.
bleach-like smell, bleach smell.
Okay.
Okay, then anything else you want to add? If you were a viewer, anything else you would like the bleach smell? Just keep on going, and
you could keep on going, or you could also give your reaction to the smell.
Mm-hmm.
You could also give the strength of the smell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's generally about it, But bleach-like, okay,
mm-hmm.
What is a bleach-like smell? Well, it's strong, it's acrid.
That's what I meant.
Burns the nose, right. and so on.
Because then you're not really messing with a noun, and you're not risking a stray cat. But if the bleach, you're furthering that smell, association.
You're getting away from that noun, that descriptive noun. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was trying to go for. And there's a note over here. The balls seem to be moving, coming towards me. And Terry, did this car wash have one of those big rag-looking things that brush kind of ball shape in the air up against the car? Actually, no, it didn't. It had those. It's no touch for the most part, and has the strips. They're like the heavy felt things. The spray coming out of the nozzles, though, is very much fan-shaped, but no balls that I can recall. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's see. Mojo, while I look here, I've taken your mic off. And Bob, I can't believe I don't have a session in here from you. You do sessions from everything. I'm looking. Up. Mojo, I had taken your mic off, and actually I took Bob's off. Just a sec. Mojo, you said your mic's not working? I queued it up. Mojo, your mic is definitely working. Go ahead.
Okay. On this session, I gained a lot from the last webinar in the lesson on the P6s on how to do the P3 sketches. The same technique that you explained to how to get to the P6, the sculpture, I used it for the P3 sketches, and I think that I got a much more accuracy. I don't think that the sketches were really representing reptile figures. I think it was more like cartoon figures of people, that were working, and they were concerned about their careers. Is one of the perceptions that I had gotten. Another thing was that on this session that I was trying to get more to the point, almost like what Lynn said on your CD, your DVD, that the purpose of each stage is to get to the next stage. I was almost like trying to guide my subconscious to bring me quicker to the P3 and the P4 stages, and I feel that I got more accuracy and more relevant information.
Good. The thing about the stages, stage 1 is ideograms, stage 2 is text, stage 3 is ideograms, in the form of a sketch. Stage 4 is text. Stage 5 is not remote viewing. Stage 6 is ideograms all the way up into 3-dimensional ideograms. Stage 7 is text, words. Stage 8 is ideograms. Stage 9 is text, and it goes back and forth all the way up. And the thing with ideograms, what we were covering in how to get information from 3D models, it's the same exact process as getting information from any ideogram. And so, yeah, that definitely carries over. And you can even do the same after you leave phase 1 and you're in phase 2. You can go back and tap and feel around that stage 1 ideogram, and you'll get more information. It's really neat the way ideograms work. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad you made that transfer.
Mm-hmm. And also I found that when I probed the ideogram, like during the session, even if the perception of flowing, if I would probe the ideogram, I find that I got more accurate information, and I'm getting more to the point and quicker.
That's right, you do. This is the whole thing that is not understood by 99% of the people on the internet, is that, quote, remote viewing is the mental psychic process. Controlled remote viewing is a physical martial art. And the more you tap the page, the more you get physically involved with those ideograms, the more accurate your information is going to be, and the more it's going to draw you into that target and get you on target. And yeah, CRV is definitely a physical discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bob sent in a session, but it's in my other email, and I can't pull that other email up and find it. And I apologize, Bob, because you're really a diligent viewer, and you do targets religiously. And I'll just say your structure is great. He's getting ready to move into intermediate in the next couple of weeks. We're really happy about that. And I think his subconscious is more than ready. And so I apologize that I can't go finding it tonight. And that's all I can say is I'm sorry. And if I didn't send it back to you as comments, I think we're caught up with that. I'll make sure I do, but I think we're okay. So, and with that, it is 10:18. I'm not going to, since Richie's not here, I'm not going to pull his up, and it's late, and I think we've reviewed everybody that's here. If anybody has any closing comments or anything, last-minute questions, go ahead and type them in or key up your mic just to say I need to get an announcement out in 2 weeks or whenever we get together next. These have been a little, sometimes 3-week gaps. We're going to be here with our next presentation is Angela Thompson-Smith, who's going to review. I haven't emailed her. I'll do that. And last I knew we were on and confirmed, but working together as a team using different viewers from different methodologies, and she'll be discussing CRV, ERV, and adjunct methods. And then the next month we have Rob Abbott, who's going to talk about perceptions and increasing your sensory perception ability. And Rob is deaf, and he'll be working with a sign, in sign through an interpreter so that he can participate with us. So we're looking forward to that. And the next TARC coordinates are up, and you know how to find them on WebEx. And I thank you all for coming, and Lynn for jumping in. And again, I'm sorry, I am pretty excited to be pursuing, I had work obligations too, but I am pretty excited to be pursuing my Reiki bioelectrical magnetic research as far as holistic nursing goes, because that's something that we're trying to pioneer in nursing, and that's where a lot of my focus has been the last few days. And I apologize for stumbling around a little bit here tonight, and hopefully we won't do any more computer lockups. So thanks for coming. Anything anybody wants to add here at the end? Thanks for sending in your sessions.
Teresa?
Yes, sir.
Hello, it's Bob here. How do you do?
Oh, hi.
Hi, I didn't want you to be looking for something that wasn't there. Actually, I didn't send a session into this one, so.
Okay, well, gee,
yeah.
thanks for blessing me with I don't have to feel guilty.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and with that, I think we're going to call it a night. So good night, George.
Hi, Gracie.
See you guys in 2 weeks-ish.
Thanks for coming, everybody.